yeah, like I mean, hockey's kind of always been a massive part of my life. And then like even up through uni, and then I mean I was traveling for a couple of years, but when I came back to Scotland, I like that was like the first thing I did was rejoin the hockey club, because it's just a massive like social side more than anything, and like it was just like a really, especially because I moved to Edinburgh, and when I moved to Edinburgh I knew a few people, but I didn't know a massive amount. And then when I played hockey, that pretty much was like my whole social life, and actually where I met my husband as well. So like it's just one of those things. So it's just always been a big part of my life. And then it was when I moved to Edinburgh I joined ESM, and they're the club like I'm still involved with. Yeah, so I was like just massively like I say, like loved playing hockey, was coaching at the club, and then when I basically just out of nowhere just was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and then that kind of like ground to a halt. Although the best thing about it was I had like a massive social circle around me, and my club were really supportive of me going through treatment, and had just an amazing, like not just like my actual team but like a wider sort of hockey family sort of supporting me through, which was incredible. And yeah, it was basically, like I say, it was out of nowhere. I'd had like lower back pain, which I just assumed was from a bad tackle playing hockey. Like, you know what it's like, you get bumps and bruises, don't you? So I just assumed it was that. And then when I went to the doctor, and then eventually got referred to the hospital, and then they found that there was a 5 centimetre tumour on my cervix and pelvic wall, and then it was literally everything just kind of stopped, and it was like focusing on treatment then. And I just remember really clearly being sat getting my chemotherapy, and my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, I said to him like, I really want to do a hockey fundraiser, and then straight away we were like, stick it to cancer, that's what we'll call it. And then that was like way back in 2014, and then it took me about a year to sort of come through treatment and recover. And then it was in 2016, that's when we did the first sort of stick it to cancer, and so yes, we established sort of the first hockey festival. I think in our first year we had about 120 people come along, which was amazing. And we raised, I think it was just about £3,000 we raised in the first year, which we were delighted with. And then everyone seemed to enjoy it so much that we were like, all right, we'll come back and we'll do it again. And then it's literally just, it's grown in strength and numbers. We've now got like the main sort of adult hockey festival, but then we've got like 2 junior ones as well. So, and they get into it. So it's, the focus is on having fun, basically. We have had, players of all abilities. We've, like my neighbour who's in his 60s, he'd never picked up a stick since he was at school, right up to, players who played for Scotland. But it's fancy dress as well, and it's like a 7-a-side, so it's not full pitch, so it's not as intimidating. And it's also in the middle of summer, so it's like people are missing it, missing being on the pitches, and it gives them a chance to socialise. And yeah, it's just a really chilled out, fun day, basically. At that time when I got my diagnosis, initially it was only the 19th recorded case, so it was a very rare type of cervical cancer, and I was given a life expectancy of 2 years. And as you can imagine, it was a massive shock. And what I found, there was a couple of things, was I was blissfully ignorant that I thought that, cancer can't touch me. There's no way. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I live a healthy, active lifestyle. There's no way this could happen to me. And so I think that part of it was just raising awareness. I really wanted to raise awareness, particularly, in my peer group, which I hadn't met anyone my age who'd been diagnosed with cancer. So I wanted to raise awareness, whether that be attending screenings or, if you find something you're not comfortable with, and make sure you go to the doctor. And also the charity that gave me a lot of support was MAGGIE'S, and I had never heard of them before. And MAGGIE'S sort of helped me with that, which is why I really wanted to, one, give something back to them to say thank you for the support, but again, raise their profile within our community, just so that hopefully people won't find themselves in a situation where they need them, but if they do, they know that they're there. As I said, it's now an annual event. We've got a good crowd coming in. So, and again, the hockey family is we were quite tactful at the start. So I knew people at different clubs, so I was able to approach them and say, we're looking at doing this. Initially it was going to be a one-off thing, and we said, it's going to be fancy dress, so it's not going to be something super serious. It is competitive, so we have obviously the winner of the tournament, but we also have a competition for best dressed, and we have a competition for Spirit of Stick It, and Spirit of Stick It is for the team who go above and beyond in saying F you cancer. So it's quite funny seeing what people do for that as well. So was it hard to set up at the beginning? I would say no, actually. I love all that kind of stuff, and I think it's actually something really easily replicated across Scotland. So if other people wanted to do it, they could definitely do it, and I'd be more than happy to show them how easy it is to do and how much fun it is as well, because it's just a really good day. It's just the effort people go to with their costumes is incredible. My husband, he really struggles to grow any facial hair, and the last year's tournament, it was my brother was getting married that summer, and he'd grown a full beard, and I was saying to him, do you not want to get rid of your facial hair? These photos are going to be around for a long time. And then he admitted to me, he was like, oh, it's I want to have a real moustache because I'm dressing as Freddie Mercury for Stick It to Cancer. So we've got all these lovely wedding photos with him with a big beard, purely because he wanted to have a moustache for dressing as Freddie Mercury. But no, everyone fully gets into it. We've had amazing costumes. So we've got teams that turn up and they do these chants where they're saying F you cancer, and these dances that they do at half time. And last year as well, we also had a team that were dressed up as, their theme was Toy Story. And so basically in the middle of the game, someone would shout, Andy's coming, and they would all drop to the floor. So it's just, it's a really good, it's good fun. It's so much fun. So yeah. This year, obviously, we couldn't do it because of COVID, but we changed it. So we did a Maggie's to Maggie's challenge. So we put it back out to the guys, or to the Stick It to Cancer family, and said, unfortunately we can't play the tournament, but get into teams, your virtual teams, and clock as many kilometres as possible. And if you can, donate some money to Maggie's. And they got on board with that. Amazing. We had over 220 people get involved with that, which was incredible. And so that raised over 10,000. So we're well over £40,000 in total since it started, and I want to say we're close to 50 now, just off the back of what we've done this year. But as I said, it's not just the adult tournament that's bringing that in. We've got junior tournaments, and also the junior section at ESM, at Halloween and at Christmas and stuff last year, they did bake-offs. The parents are amazing, they bring all this baking, and so they do little in between sort of fundraisers as well. So yeah, so we're close to 50,000 now, which is way more than I ever thought it would be. So I'm really delighted with it. I'm really passionate about it. I think that's probably why it's worked, and as I said, it's not just me. There's a team of people that help, and that's from we've now got a Stick It to Cancer committee. Who George Guy, I know he recently retired, but he's still involved. He's amazing. Ben Curry, who's from Inverleith, and my husband. So there's those guys, and then we get a whole team of volunteers on the day to help make the actual event run really smoothly. So we're really lucky that we've got like a lot of support. Basically finding something that you think is going to work. So for me, like my network was all within hockey, and I also knew that other than summer hockey, it tends to be quite quiet on the hockey front during the summer. So that's how I said, right, we'll do a hockey festival. It'll be one day in the summer, and also I love fancy dress, which is why I was like, that's what it's going to be. So I think it's finding something at a time that's going to suit everyone. And then whenever you're doing any sort of events like this, I would always say, use your networks, tell people what you're doing. Like the amount of people who off the back of this have now said, oh, like, let me know, I want to be involved, how can I help? And just letting people know what you're doing. Like off the back of this, I've had people and even companies approach because they want to show their support. And I think it's just, like, be vocal about it, let people know. And also don't try and do it yourself. If people are offering their hand, then take it, because again, like, it just opens up that network of who you can get involved. And just find something that you enjoy doing as well, because for me, I'm not saying stick it is quite a bit of work, but I love it. Like I really enjoy it. There's nothing like the sort of 48 hours before where you're still getting people putting in their team registrations and you're trying to make sure everything's all sorted. But I wouldn't change it for the world. So I would always say, like, find something that you enjoy doing, try and pick a time which you think is going to suit everyone, and just let everyone know, because even if they can't get involved themselves, then they'll know someone that can potentially help. That would be my advice. To be honest, like I do things like stick it and the if you cancer stuff. Is I always want to try and find a positive out of a negative situation. So for me, it's something that keeps me motivated, it gives me focus, and also kind of makes me feel like, you know, we're raising awareness unfortunately, I feel everyone knows what cancer is, and I think everyone knows that what cancer can do. And what I like to think is that we're raising awareness of it without it being quite in your face in an aggressive way. And also the fact that, you know, I was told back in 2014 that I'd only be here for 2 years. I'm still here, albeit I've got another cancer diagnosis. But I'm living with cancer, and in the time that I've been living with cancer, you know, I've still been able to go on and do amazing things, amazing in terms of things I enjoy doing. I've got a wonderful life with my husband and our 2 wee dogs. And I'm all about life is for living. I don't know how long I've got, but I'm intending on making the most of it. So in terms of what I'm most proud of, I don't know if there's anything. It's just that I'm just happy that I can get given some pretty rubbish news and still manage to sort of look to the future and make the most of the time that I've got. So what we'd like to do is, or what we're going to do is, we're going to organise a Guinness World Record attempt for the longest field hockey match. And the aim of that is to raise funds for Cancer Research UK. Cancer Research UK have got research centres in Scotland, and what we'd want to do is raise the funds so that they can stay within Scotland as well. So we're at the very early stages. It's more the logistics that we're looking at the moment, but when we're ready, what we're going to do is open it up so that it wouldn't just be like people within our club or within sort of Edinburgh clubs, because that's where we stay. We'd actually be open up to, if other people wanted to get involved, they'd be more than welcome. For the actual challenge itself, we'd need to have, it's 32, so it's 16 players in each team, but So like that's the 32 that would actually be doing the challenge, but obviously we'll be needing a lot more people. We need people that are going to verify the challenge. We're going to need people to sort of help with keeping our players fed. We're going to have to, there's so many aspects to it. It's a big job, and for someone who loves organising stuff, like I enjoy it, but it's going to be a big task. So we're at the very early stages, but again, if anyone is interested and wants to know more or would like to get involved, then I'd be more than happy for them to reach out. So yeah, that's our plan. In terms of Stick It to Cancer, we're going to be back. So the competition is usually the first or second week in July. So we will, hopefully, all being well, be back on the pitch for 2021. And as I said, we welcome players of all abilities. It's a great day, night, weekend. So if anyone wants to get involved with that, you'd be more than welcome. And to find out information about that, the best place to go is probably we've got an FE Cancer Facebook page, and we'll be keeping updates on there. And in terms of the Guinness World Record attempt as well, there's not much, you won't find much information about that on the FE Cancer page yet. But again, if you want to reach out, you can get in touch with me there. And also, if anyone is wanting to do any sort of fundraising themselves, whether it be something similar to Stick It to Cancer, or whether they just want to do some fundraising for Cancer Research UK, then again, feel free to reach out for me. I'm always happy to chat about that kind of stuff. And yeah, it is really good fun, so I would highly recommend it.